My chosen one, every chain that ever held you was temporary, even the ones that felt permanent. Enemy forces convinced you that some bondage cannot be broken, that certain fears are part of who you are, that particular wounds will never fully heal. Dark voices showed you evidence. Deceptive whispers pointed to calendar days. Lying spirits reminded you how long you have carried this burden and suggested that duration equals permanence. But all of them lied. Every single voice lied about what was binding you. All opposition lied about my power to set you free. Each demonic suggestion lied about timing of your liberation. Let me tell you about specific breakthrough manifestations that are beginning to appear in various areas of your life right now. In your family relationships, conversations that have been strained for years will begin to flow with new understanding and mutual respect. Relatives who seemed impossible to communicate with will become approachable. Family gatherings that created anxiety will become sources of joy. Generational patterns of dysfunction will be replaced by patterns of health and blessing. In your professional environment, recognition for your contributions will come from sources you never expected to notice your work. Advancement opportunities will present themselves in rapid succession. Collaboration requests will arrive from people whose expertise will enhance your own capabilities. Financial compensation will increase to levels that reflect true value of what you bring to your responsibilities. In your spiritual development, clarity about your purpose will emerge with specificity that removes confusion about direction you should pursue. Gifts that have been dormant will activate with power that enables you to minister effectively to people who need exactly what you have been equipped to provide. Intimacy with my presence will deepen to levels that make my guidance unmistakable in every situation requiring wisdom. In your physical health, energy will return to levels you have not experienced for years. Sleep will become restorative rather than restless. Appetite will normalize in ways that support optimal nutrition without requiring complicated dietary restrictions. Exercise will become enjoyable rather than burdensome. Medical reports will show improvement that surprises healthcare providers. In your emotional well-being, peace will replace anxiety as your default internal state. Joy will emerge spontaneously rather than requiring deliberate cultivation. Hope will feel natural rather than forced. Optimism about your future will replace pessimism that has characterized your expectations. Confidence in my goodness will become unshakable regardless of temporary circumstances. In your living environment, space will become available that better suits your needs and preferences. Financial arrangements will develop that make desired changes possible without creating overwhelming debt. Neighbors will become sources of blessing rather than stress. Safety and security will characterize your residential experience. Beauty will surround you in ways that inspire creativity and peace. Your season of sorrow was always your season of strength. Now I want to address fears that may be arising as you consider possibility that breakthrough is actually happening in your life. Fear that blessings will be temporary and will disappear as quickly as they arrived. Fear that you will somehow sabotage good things through mistakes or character flaws that have not been fully healed. Fear that other people will resent your success and create opposition that will steal your peace, even if external circumstances improve. These fears are normal responses to transition from seasons of difficulty to seasons of blessing. Anyone who has survived prolonged challenges develops protective mechanisms that make rapid change feel dangerous, even when change is positive. Your spirit learned to expect disappointment as a way of avoiding surprise when good things did not materialize. Your mind developed habits of looking for problems as a way of staying prepared for next crisis. but fears that protected you during construction phases will limit you during occupation phases if you allow them to control your responses to breakthrough opportunities. Learning to receive blessing requires different mental and emotional skills than learning to endure hardship. Transitioning from survival mode to thriving mode demands adjustment period, while new patterns establish themselves. I want to assure you that breakthrough I am manifesting in your life is not temporary reward for good behavior that will be withdrawn when you make next mistake. It flows from covenant relationship that cannot be broken by human failure. It springs from my character rather than from your performance. It grows from my nature rather than from your worthiness. Nothing you could do would earn it. Nothing you could do would deserve to lose it. Your season of sorrow was always your season of strength. Regarding fear that other people will resent your success, understand that reactions of others to your blessing reveal content of their own hearts rather than reality about whether you deserve what you are receiving. People who are secure in my love for them will celebrate your victories because they understand that my resources are infinite and your blessing does not diminish what is available for them. People who are insecure about their own standing will sometimes respond to your advancement with jealousy or criticism. Their responses cannot change what I have determined to do in your life. Their opinions cannot alter spiritual laws that govern how blessing flows to people who maintain faith during testing seasons. Their attitudes cannot stop divine arrangements that have been set in motion on your behalf. Their words cannot cancel promises I have made regarding your future. However, wisdom in how you respond to various reactions will preserve your peace and potentially open doorways for ministry to people whose hearts are hungry but whose minds are confused about how divine blessing operates. Humility about your breakthrough, combined with confidence in my goodness, will position you to be instrument of healing for people who struggle with jealousy or bitterness about their own unresolved situations. Your season of sorrow was always your season of strength. Now I want you to understand something about the speed with which things will begin to change in your visible circumstances. After years of feeling like progress was too slow or non-existent, acceleration is coming that will make up for every delay you endured. Breakthroughs will happen so rapidly that you will struggle to keep up with divine arrangements being made on your behalf. Answers that took years to arrive will be followed by answers that come within weeks. Doors that required persistent knocking will be followed by doors that open before you finish approaching them. Provision that demanded constant prayer will be followed by provision that flows without your having to ask. Relationships that required intense effort to maintain will be followed by relationships that thrive through mutual support and genuine compatibility. This acceleration will feel overwhelming at times because your spirit became accustomed to operating at survival pace during construction phases. Learning to receive at abundance pace during occupation phases will require adjustment period while you adapt to blessing instead of burden being your normal experience. Peace instead of pressure becoming your daily reality will feel strange until new patterns establish themselves. Your season of sorrow was always your season of strength. During transition from construction to occupation, you will discover that capabilities you thought you had lost during difficult seasons were actually being preserved and enhanced in preparation for this phase of your life. Creative gifts that seemed dormant will awaken with power and sophistication that exceeds anything you experienced before trials began. Leadership abilities that appeared to diminish during seasons when you could barely manage your own life will emerge stronger and wiser than they ever were. Intellectual capacity that felt clouded by pain and worry will become sharp and clear in ways that enable you to solve problems and understand concepts that once seemed beyond your reach. Emotional intelligence that was buried under protective walls will surface with sensitivity and wisdom that allows you to navigate complex relational dynamics without losing your peace or compromising your boundaries. Physical energy that was depleted by stress and struggle will be restored in measure that enables you to pursue goals and maintain commitments that require sustained effort over extended periods. Spiritual sensitivity that was numbed by disappointment will become acute enough to discern divine guidance in situations where other people can only guess about right choices. Your season of sorrow was always your season of strength. Final fortress wall I want to show you contains records of every time you chose to continue when continuing seemed impossible. Every morning you got up when staying in bed felt like only reasonable option. Every day you completed necessary tasks when motivation was completely absent. Every night you chose hope instead of despair, when hope required more faith than you thought you possessed. Each choice to persevere when perseverance demanded supernatural strength created deposits in spiritual account that will provide resources for rest of your life. Every decision to trust when trusting felt dangerous built confidence in my faithfulness that will anchor you during future seasons when circumstances challenge your faith. Every act of kindness you offered when you felt too wounded to care for others stored treasure in heavenly places that will be returned to you multiplied. Every prayer you prayed when praying seemed pointless created communication pathway between your spirit and my throne that will remain open and active for rest of your earthly life and throughout eternity. Every song you sang when singing required discipline rather than inclination tuned your spirit to frequency of heaven that will enable you to hear my voice with clarity that exceeds anything you have experienced before. Your season of sorrow was always your season of strength. Let me show you something else about what has been taking place during these construction seasons. While you were focused on surviving day by day, I was installing spiritual infrastructure in your life that will support miraculous operations for decades to come. While you were wondering if you could endure another week of difficulty, I was laying spiritual foundations that will carry enormity of generational blessings. Consider how master builders approach massive construction projects. Before anyone sees impressive structures rising above ground, teams of engineers spend months or even years preparing underground systems, electrical grids that will power every light and appliance, plumbing networks that will supply fresh water and remove waste, communication systems that will connect every room to outside world, structural supports that will bear weight of everything built above. All of this invisible work is absolutely essential, but people walking past construction sites cannot see any of it happening. What they observe is dirt being moved, holes being dug, concrete being poured into shapes that make no obvious sense. To casual observers, it appears that nothing meaningful is being accomplished. Months pass with no visible progress toward anything that looks like finished building. But master builders know that everything visible depends entirely on everything invisible. Strongest buildings in world are strong because their invisible systems were installed with precision and patience. Most beautiful buildings in world are beautiful because their underground infrastructure was built to support beauty without compromise. During your season of sorrow, I was installing spiritual infrastructure that will support life of extraordinary beauty and strength. While you were crying, I was laying electrical systems that will power supernatural operations in your life. While you were struggling to understand why certain things were taking so long, I was installing communication networks that will connect you to divine resources without delay or interruption. plumbing systems that will carry fresh supply of peace, joy, hope, and wisdom into every area of your life, while removing toxic emotions, destructive thought patterns, and relationship poison that has been contaminating your environment. Structural supports that will bear weight of blessings so large that your previous foundation would have collapsed under their magnitude. All of that work is complete now. Infrastructure is in place. Systems have been tested and proven functional. What was invisible during construction phase is about to become visible during operation phase. All that difficulty was building spiritual strength.